Hello, good morning. I have a very exciting content today, yet boring and disgusting, to make you fully and enjoy the boredom with me. People differ in this respect. The representation of the state of Michigan is very detailed in some people's minds. Residents of the state are more likely to retrieve many facts about it than people who live elsewhere. Geography buffs will retrieve more than others who specialize in baseball statistics. More intelligent individuals are more likely than others to have rich representations of most things. Intelligence is not only the ability to reason, it is also the ability to find relevant material in memory and to deploy attention when needed. Memory function is an attribute of System 1. However, everyone has the option of slowing down to conduct an active search of memory for a possibly relevant facts, just as they could slow down to check the intuitive answer in the bat and ball problem. The extent of deliberate checking and search is a characteristic of System 2 which varies among individuals. The bat and ball problem, the flower syllogism, and the Michigan Detroit problem have something in common. Failing these many tests appears to be, at least to some extent, a matter of insufficient motivation and trying hard enough. Anyone who can be admitted to a good university is certainly able to reason through the first two questions and to reflect about Michigan long enough to remember the major city in that state and its crime problem. These students can solve much more difficult problems when they are not tempted to accept a superficially plausible answer that comes readily to mind. The ease with which they are satisfied enough to stop thinking is rather troubling. Lazy is a harsh judgment about the self-monitoring of these young people and their system too, but it does not seem to be unfair. Those who avoid the sin of intellectual sloth could be called engaged. They're more alert, more intellectually active, less willing to be satisfied with superficially attractive answers, more skeptical about their intuitions. The psychologist Kit and Stanovich would call them more rational. Intelligence, control, rationality. Researchers have applied diverse methods to examine the connection between thinking and self control. Some have addressed it by asking the correlation question. The people are ranked by their self control and by their cognitive aptitude. Would individuals have similar positions in the two rankings? In one of the most experiments famous experiments in the history of psychology, Walter Mischel and his students exposed 4-year-old children to a cruel dilemma. They were given a choice between a small reward, one Oreo, which they could have at any time, or a larger reward, two cookies, for which they had to wait 15 minutes under difficult conditions. They were to remain alone in a room facing a desk with two objects, a single cookie and a bell that the child could ring at any time to call in the experimenter and receive no and one cookie. As the experiment was described, there were no toys, books, pictures, or other potentially distracting items in the room. The experimenter left the room and did not return until 15 minutes had passed or the child had rung the bell, eaten the rewards, and stood up or shown any signs of distress. The children were watched through a one-way mirror and the film that shows their behavior during the waiting time always has the audience roaring in laughter. But I have learned today is a very interesting concept of measuring intelligence. Like whenever we are going to attend an exam, or specifically I am attending an exam, the important point to perform well is measured by my ability to access my available memory, like system 1, or my volatile memory, and as well as deploy my capability of focus or attention in that problem. And these two are very important um, to derive into a conclusion or solution of any specific problem. And there are a lot of trade-offs here and lots of other things involved, like how memory function works. Like if I am being asked about solving a specific problem of math, like the other day in the street, someone asked me about an elementary school problem, mathematical one. I completely forgot that he was asking through accessing his memory. Probably he has seen that in one of his children's problem set, and I completely forgot that because it was out of my um, working memory or system one. At one point, I used to believe that I have very less working memory, and um, then, through a lot introspection, I get to know that it's not about the space or mental space. It's about what I am filling it with. I'm filling it with a lot of unnecessary information such as news, social media feeds, or mm, texting, or unnecessary interactions. Like when I have very less interactions with another human beings, I can monitor my interactions as well as I can bring some quality in them. But um, it's also like important to not to being in control always. So finding the right sweet spot. And there is another thing about memory is like memory is very much interconnected with emotions. And I was reading a lot, like I had memory difficulties, I still have. And like how can I increase my ability to hold, things that I want to keep in my working memory. So a lot of things came up, like if I have emotions about something, like if I develop emotions about something that like remains in the working memory for a long time. You can recall everything your mother said or your significant other said to you without any need to recall that, or you can recognize all of their moves, just having a conversation or something like that. But um, emotions is important for creating long-term memory, and another thing is using multiple senses, like um, at one point, like I used to think, like if I shut down everything and just keep doing a spaced repetition in my study desk, I will have this thing in my long-term memory. But that was not truth. That truth. A lot of things I have um, tried in last 2 years and to enhance my mental memory space, such as using multiple senses, like um, when uh, I have been reading something, if I use multiple colors to take, I mean, I'm a visual learner, so multiple colors to take control of the note taking system, as well as um, if I have um, other memories of the place, like if I have read it in a park, I can recall that information, looking back in my mind, thinking about that park, or very specific um, natural scenario of where I have read that. It it's just an example. It's not that it's always needs to be in park. So how memory works, I'm still learning about it and hack, uh, understand um, how memory holds information, and how I can leverage my working memory in a better way, rather than using it in lots of unnecessary things, like as I have mentioned. And another thing, deploying attention, which is also um, very much challenging, because our mind is always creating lots of amount of thoughts, and these thoughts are taking a lot of attention. Like I'm solving a mathematical problem, or I'm in an exam hall. In the meantime, I'm having thoughts about what I'm doing, what I will do after the exam, or mm some argument I had with some other people, or um, a constant thought generating is going on. I was mm, doing a lot of research about, like, can we um, stop mind to generate thoughts? But the answer was no. Even scientific answers with lots of experiments have said that there is no way to prove that mind has stopped generating thoughts. But one thing we can do is to remain detached with the thoughts. Like, I am not my thoughts, they're being cooked in my mind, but I am just listening to them like an external source, like a bird chirping right now. So that's what insight meditation does too. Like listening to my thoughts and um, differentiating between the unnecessary thoughts and insight. Like Also, it's a lengthy process, but the thing is that organizing mind to deploy attention is very important. So that's what I had to share today. Hopefully I will come back tomorrow.